Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's large scale consolidated live show. And we have a couple guests for you tonight, actually. But before we move on, you want to say hello, Andrew?
Hello, everybody.
And we would like to
I'm
recognize some
prepared
people
to
from.
gauge my enthusiasm. Cut my calipers. Get that bad joke out of the way. I'm good.
Hey, is that digital, by the way? Are you cheating?
Those are digital.
They are or not?
They are.
Yeah, see, you're cheating. That's not. They're
Nah,
not.
I'm not cheating. I had the old school ones years ago, but these ones probably can't see it. They've got my father's name engraved on there. Those belong to him, so they
Oh, cool.
have a special place for me.
All right, cool. I didn't know that. That's good. So, anyway, like to recognize some people in the chat before we bring up our guests. So tonight it looks like, and you guys have to realize sometimes the early people who are on here first get taken out of the chat when the show starts over. So
Stay Loaded was first, though, by a week or whenever we put this up.
yeah, so technically, Stay Loaded was the first one in the chat by a week. So we have we're going to say hello to Canadian Railroads, Dave's Trains and Automobiles. And then we're going to keep scrolling down here. And bear with me, guys, because there's a lot of chat going on here. And then we have, Cody Reisinger. And then we have, and I'm scrolling through here. Just bear with me because, you guys.
We'll never get your last name right. It's all right, buddy.
Yeah. No, I'm not good with names. Sorry, guys. My name thing is not very good. Joseph Lipinski from the Garden Railway Club up there in the Northeast corridor. Garden Railroad, that's Charlie. He was one of our previous guests. And Kyle Kelper, Keeper. I always wreck that one.
I'm sorry, Kyle.
I always end up wrecking his name. Otis Dooley. Gem State Railroad, is he new? Is that person new?
I think
Gem State Railroad. I don't think they've been here before. But if you're a first timer, welcome aboard. Glad to see you here with us. Jonathan the Fish Guy, who's another previous guest. Bruce Morrill in New Jersey. Kazan Fields.
that would be our guest Shawn's wife, I believe.
Oh, okay. Darren Warren. Mikey 45013. Nuke 1111. Yeah, Steve is here. Steve. Dave Epstein. See here who, and if you guys want to say something in the chat, I'll try to recognize you correctly. Walter Conklin. Hello. He says hello, Shawn, and hello back, Walter. Glad you're here. And I think I've said Otis Tooley already. Golden Leaf Railroad, are they new too? And we have Dunbar. Tony Tiger. I'm new from Ohio. Okay, well, welcome aboard. Yep. Nice to have you in the stream. And it looks like that pretty much finishes us off. And okay, so we got two guests for you. We're gonna bring up both guests at the same time, but our first agenda is we're going to talk a little bit about the National Garden Railroad Association tour.
National Garden Railway Convention.
Or convention, I'm sorry. It's been a long week, but it's been a long week. I got 50 hours of work in this week. So, yeah, National Garden Railway Convention. All right, so go ahead and bring them up, Andrew.
All right. We'll bring up
Ken?
Ken Miller here. Hello, Ken.
Hello,
And
Ken.
bring up Mr. Shawn Fields.
So we're going to have Ken Miller go first. And for those who may not know, Ken is also a CSX train engineer. Is that correct, Ken?
That's right.
So I'm kind of like excited to actually have a train engineer on our show. So you're like our very first actual real train engineer to be on our show.
Shawn has a train engineer.
Who?
Shawn. He has a train engineer. Aristo, the Aristo train engineer. Come on.
Yeah, that's where's the tomatoes at when you need them?
Talking about this.
But anyway, Ken, you want to tell us about the NGRC tour for this year in Tennessee?
Yeah. Well, of course, it was canceled this last year, and we're doing everything that we could possibly do to get ready for this year. Our registrations are still good. We're just wanting to use this time to promote it. I think everybody's needing a break and ready to get out and have some train time. The registration is going good for us so far. Most of our events, everything's still running a little bit slow right now, especially here in Nashville. We heard from the Grand Ole Opry today. They're trying to get back on schedule. If you go to the website, you can see all the extra.
Yeah, I'm going to bring the website up here. Let's see.
Go ahead, Ken. You're fine. He's talking to himself.
No, I was looking for Shawn. Sorry.
Oh, no. So I have to look there because there's a delay on the other one. So.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we're all excited here in Nashville, ready to have a big show down here, hoping that as many people can come enjoy the Nashville experience. We've tried to promote it as a family vacation down here, not only to enjoy our hobby of trains, but also to enjoy the city itself and everything that Nashville has to offer with all the music venues. Just about everything that we've got on a daily basis has got some type of musical entertainment involved with it. A couple of the homes are going to have music as well. We've had a few layouts that did drop out this year due to the coronavirus, people just being scared. But as we've had a few drop out, we've had a few new ones come on board that we knew they were here in Nashville. It's just been trying to find them. So we're real excited about it. So a couple things that I want to just kind of start off with is if you're planning to come to Nashville for the convention this year, if you registered last year and transferred to this year, you need to make sure that you contact the Gaylord Opryland Hotel, which he's got up on the screen right there now, coming up, and rebook your reservation. When the convention was postponed last year, when the Opryland Hotel dropped out everybody's reservations, that they're separate from the convention registration. So you need to call the Opryland Hotel and rebook your reservations for this year. That's first thing. Also, our convention car deadline is coming up. Yes, we did a convention car for last year, and we decided as a club to go ahead and do one for this year because there's a lot of people that's been traveling in the convention circuit that's purchased cars every year. This year's car is coming from USA Trains, and we have a deadline to meet that's technically this coming Sunday. I'm sure Charles will give us a little bit more time, but it won't be much time so that they can have everything in place for the cars. So if you're going to buy a convention car, you need to get your order in as soon as possible. You can go to the website. The bulkhead flat car with the tank load on it has 2 car numbers, 2020 for last year and 2021 for this year. And then we still have cars that we did with Pico from last year that we have available.
Will the convention cars be limited edition for this year?
Will it be a limited edition? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like are they only going to make 50 or 100? Because I know sometimes they're...
Minimum order with Charles Rowe for this year is 150 cars. And I can tell you that we're only at about 50 cars right now. And so we've got a big to get these cars done. We've got to we need to get people to get them purchased by the end of this coming up weekend. Unfortunately, they need time to get all the parts together. I understand that he has to order some of the parts from out of town to get the cars assembled to have them all ready by the time we have our convention.
All right.
As to where we're running right now, I'm not sure as far as the 2020 car and the 2021 car. I know that there's a lot of, I think there are a few more orders for the 2021 car right now than 2020 since we did a car for last year. So, but we want to be able to give everybody, you know, 2 car numbers. So,
okay.
So the video.
And what's the purchase price of these cars?
They're $85. $85 for the car.
Right. And is there any? What if you buy both together? Buy both road numbers.
Still $85 a car.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if there's any. All right. No.
Unfortunately, due to the cancellation of last year, we took a small hit financially due to the advertising that we did prior to the convention, trying to get everything ready for last year's convention. So we're having to try to make up a little bit of it the best we can. So unfortunately, this year we were not able to offer any kind of discount. Last year we had it where if you stayed in the hotel for 5 nights, we were going to give you the convention car. Unfortunately, we were not able to offer that this go around. So we're not looking to make money. We're just looking to break even.
And that's understandable because, you know, a lot of things happen and hopefully people understand and, you know, and they can help you out.
Right. So the video you're showing there is a video that we had made 2.5 years ago that's showing you a little about the hotel, the Country Music Hall of Fame. This is the railroad that we'll be going to up in Kentucky to do our train ride. There is a train ride that will be offered here, a small one. And but this is where the big train up there at the Kentucky Western Railroad.
Question for you, Ken. One of the people in the comments was asking if they can just go to the train, you know, the train show aspect of the convention. Can they show up for that, or do you have to register to go to the train show?
So we'll have a convention book that has like the layouts in them that you can, that you know, the buses will be touring to, the homes that everybody will be touring to. You can still do that and not have to do all the extra activities it's in there. If you're just wanting to see the home layouts, when you do your registration, you'll just have to notify us and specify what you're wanting to do and what you're not wanting. Ticket prices will kind of dictate that as well, so we'll kind of be able to keep track with it that way.
All right, good. And another question is, do you have to ride the tour bus, or can people drive their personal car to these places?
Yeah, you'll be able to drive. Also, we'll do a printout of that'll have directions on it to get to the different people's homes. But you'll have to pick that up. You have to pick that up at registration. That's not something that. Well, let me backtrack. We're not going to do pre and post show tours due to not knowing what was going to happen this year, and then some of the people from Atlanta have now told us that they wanted to be on the pre and post show tours. This is the layouts that'll be open the weekend before and the weekend after the convention. There's several in the surrounding area. There's one in Chattanooga, one in Knoxville, in Middle Tennessee. There's like a train museum where they'll be on pre and post show tour as well. So
and Jonathan the Fish Guy is asking, what does registration cost at the door?
it depends on what you're going to do. If you're going to stay for the whole week and stay in the hotel, then that's one fee. If you're just coming to go to the vendor hall, which will be on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, there's just a door rate as if you were going to go into a local train show to get into the door each day to go to the vendors.
Okay, Steve Junks had posted, you can go to the trade show on Friday and Saturday by paying the $7 general admission fee.
Okay, there you go. There's Steve. Steve is in our club. He and his wife have done a ton of work to help get this convention ready to go. He's been handling our all the vendors for the vendor hall. We had a few that backed out last year that are going to be back around this year that was out due to health reasons. But they've done a ton of work and helping getting our convention ready to go down here.
And Southern 8099 said he's in Dayton, Tennessee, and would open the layout for pre and post tour if you decide to have one.
That's probably who I was just thinking about. Ask him who.
I mean, looking at the video that we had up there playing at, I mean, it looks like the Opryland Resort looks like a pretty nice place.
Yeah.
The Opryland Resort, it's absolutely beautiful. If you've never been in a Gaylord resort, with the atriums, the waterfalls, all the restaurants. So, of course, just like everything else, the hotel is not at full capacity right at the moment. They are supposed to be back at full capacity by the time our convention rolls around, the end of May, the 1st of June. They just completed a multi-million-dollar water park inside of the hotel that's just incredible. We were offered a small discount to be offered that we could offer. Sorry, I'm stuttering there a little bit.
You're fine.
To get a little bit better of a bigger discount, but they have not shared that with us yet as to what that discount will be. But it's incredible. It's inside and outside that.
Tony Tiger's asking how many vendors will be there.
Steve, tell them how many since you're on here.
And
Jamie Roberts, that's who's in Dayton. That's Jamie is right outside of Chattanooga.
Oh, okay.
All right. And I think one of the last questions is there a special room rate if you call the hotel to book?
The room rate, they actually went up $5 this year. They're giving us the best discount that they offer for a convention, according to them. Now I know you might be able to call other places and get something else cheaper. I don't know, but the room rate is $205 a night. They went up $5 on us, and that $5 they told us in the renegotiations that's to help recoup some of their losses from this past year of being closed.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and turn the show over to Shawn Fields, because I know people have been waiting patiently for that part of it. But thank you for giving us an update of the NGRC and what's going on and what's happening and all that fun stuff.
Of course, Ken's going to still be hanging with us and interacting with us through.
Yep, Ken will continue hanging out with us. That's correct.
Ken was originally going to be our guest, and then he wasn't sure if he could show up, so we got Shawn, and now we ended up with both of them. So I guess it's the best of both worlds.
Okay, yeah. All right, Shawn Fields. So what have you got in store for us tonight?
Well, we're going to lower some cars. We're going to learn some tricks. I know that there's some questions about the signals up on the layout and how they work. Let's see. What else was we going to do? All right. Yeah. So we'll talk about
with forgetful memories. Come on.
the layout. We're going to talk about the signals. We're going to lower 2 sets, and we're going to do the lowering of the 2-bay covered aristo hoppers, which Andrew asked nicely if I would stop modifying this one so that we could do it tonight on the show. So that's what we're going to do.
All right.
What do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about the signals up on the layout? Do you want to talk about the cars?
Well,
we're also going to talk about the 3D printed gears and how to service the aristocraft gearboxes.
Oh, you're going to get everybody
got a couple samples printed and ready to go.
I think people are ready for something like interactive. So let's do a lowering of the car.
You want to do a lowering of the car?
Yeah, why not? What do you think, Andrew?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Well, Andrew, you want to put me back up top so everybody can see the old slicer dicer?
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
let's
here we go.
We're gonna.
Hey, look at this magic. All right, so I'm going to finish up this aristocraft 2-bay just because it needs to be finished up. All right, so what we're going to do is I have my little mini cup of doom. I don't know. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
I'm going to see if I can make that a full screen. Everybody doesn't have to look at us while you're doing that. Let's see.
You can.
That way people can see better. How do we do that?
Okay, well, I'll wait till you get me bigger.
There you go. You got it.
Hey, look at that. How's that?
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. Well, there we go. All right, so we pull the trucks off. And I've already metal wheeled and I've already kadeed this one. So, you know, we're just going to have to wing it and pretend that we've not done it. Even though we have. Cause reasons.
Reasons? There's darn reasons all the time.
Yeah, cause reasons because I'm a machine, apparently, and I just knock these projects out.
I would like to thank.
So what you do with the Aristo 2-bay hoppers is you take the Aristo trucks off and put them on something else. And you get yourself a nice set of these USA trucks. We'll set that off to the side. So you got to take the truck apart. And most people would have a magnet or a magnetic bowl somewhere to keep their screws handy. I don't roll that way. I just throw the screws wherever.
So you'd say you have a bunch of loose screws rolling around?
If we find them, we find them. We don't. Just throw it around. Yeah. Just rolls around. It's whatever. So anyway, it's real easy. By the way, these Sierra Valley wheels, these are awesome wheels. I like them. They run good. So you pull the screws out of the housings. You know, 'cause that's what you do. I'm a terrible teacher. And I have a plethora of tools off to the other side over here. No. This doesn't want to be spiteful. See, almost said the word. It's always a good time over here. There we go. There it is. All right, so on these, you got to make a couple of cuts. I'm going to show you where you got to go. I may have to get up a little closer to the thing. All right. Let me get my hand up in here.
Okay.
So on the USA trucks, you see this area that's not? Right there. You actually will take and cut that right there along that seam, and that's your first step. And you do that to both trucks. So you break out your friend, the old Slicer Dicer 3000, and you just cut it. And when you're cutting it, it'll be right above the axle hole on the journal. And we don't do any safety precautions around here. We just cut them.
No safety, huh?
You know,
As long as we have the same amount of
no
at
safety.
the end of the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no safety. We don't believe in safety. We just cut and go. And the old slicer makes quick work of it. So once you get that cut, you get your nippers. You just cut off what you left. And pieces go flying over your head and behind you, whatever. No matter. And then you have your nice little half round file. And you just sand her down till she's smooth. You do that on the other side. Till she's smooth. And I know that there's people out there going, why are you doing it the old-fashioned way? Why are you doing it with hand tools? Power tools make noise. So, and this gets you exercise. So you can have another donut. So that one is now cut. So now we come over here and we do the next one. And you know, I probably should have showed you the height difference on these before I started cutting. Hindsight's 20/20.
No.
But I can tell you, it's almost a quarter inch tall.
I was gonna say, according to the NGRC website, hindsight is 20/21.
Right? Very much so. I think Ken will agree.
Yeah.
So, and there you go. Again, you just nip off what you cut. You get your file. And yeah, there's going to be shavings everywhere, and you're going to have it all over you, and it's going to make a mess. But you know what? Anything that's worth having and worth working for is worth getting dirty for. So bring the dirt. And you just Make it like that, nice.
So we did have one person ask Shawn why we would want to lower the car.
Why do you want to lower the car?
Yeah.
Because they sit way too high. These cars, when Aristo made them, were too high. Just plain and simple, they're too high. You know, a lot of people take and cut the bolsters off and lower the bolsters, or, you know, Aristo actually realized this hindsight, and they offered lowered floors for a lot of their cars. They didn't do so for the covered hopper, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't believe they did. I think it was just for
So
the
henceforth,
box cars.
we follow this method. Yeah, the box cars, the reefers, the gondolas, all of those cars in that 40-foot range. In the blue box and black box, and some of the early yellow boxes, those cars are all too high. So, but anyway, so the side frames are modified. We're not done with the slicer dicer yet. We actually have to take and cut the cross beam, and we're going to shave about 1/8 of an inch off of it. So, and also coupler tang. Whoop. Cut it off, throw it over your shoulder. No more. Gets in the way. You know, just like that. Don't need it. So you just take it. And it doesn't matter if one is longer or shorter than the other. The goal is there's a lip right here, and this lip will rest on top of what we cut. So it'll be fine. We'll cut it. Yeah, and again, no safety devices, no gloves, no eye protection. Just cut it. No slicer dicer, she's getting weak.
Our friend
There we go.
had the slicer dice.
Found that butter spot.
It's like the Exacto miter box saw, which they are one and the same, but slicer
Yes.
dicer 3000 sounds way cooler.
Right? Like, for real. Like, you just can't beat that. And I know technically to make the cross beam flat, you could lop off this other ear. But it's not hurting nobody. It can stay. We just cut it. And you'll see the difference in the height. What I'll do is I'll put the unmodified truck on the car and the modified truck back on the car, and that'll show you the difference in the height. And honestly, I probably should have pulled another car out of the...
We had a serious question, Shawn. They would like to know, are the medical professionals standing by?
No. We die like men around here. Medical professionals. You know, I bleed to death on national TV, so whatever.
But I think that would give
No
that would
show.
probably give the video an R
straight
rating. Though. Yeah, I would get
What?
an R rating on my video if that happened.
When? Oh, yeah, because I bleed to death on your channel? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Well, at least I didn't say the word, Andrew.
Yes, the word we won't speak of.
Not the word. Oh, you're not going to live it down, dude.
I don't plan on. I plan on. owning
It is what it is. Just own it.
Jonathan says he got.
Canadian Railroads is helping us out. They sent us a ambulance.
Well, roll with it.
Columbus was wondering if he at least had a needle and thread just in case.
If I do what?
Yeah, Shawn seems like
If he had a needle and thread just in case.
needle and thread in case we got to stitch you up, Shawn. We'd have to.
No, I'll use super glue and electrical tape and a paper towel. It'll be fine. All right. So
cool.
once these are cut.
Hey, your wife had a comment, Shawn.
What's that?
She said, "Excuse me while I increase your life insurance."
Wow.
You mean ouch?
I like your wife
right.
even more.
You mean ouch,
Right?
don't you?
Yeah, ouch. Yeah, no. All right, and then once we get these cut, there is a piece of webbing between the end of the support and the end of the frame here. We actually have to cut that out too so that this will sit flush inside the frame. This will cut easier. This is actually just a couple little whips. You do it on both sides. And Andrew will tell you guys, I usually do this at my desk in the house with my large cup of doom and the Slicer Dicer 3000. All right. Once you get them clipped out, you just give them a little file to flatten out whatever may have been left behind. And if you cut all cattywampus and crooked, you take your file and you make her straight. And it is a great example of the 100-yard rule. Or the you can't see it from my house rule. So anyway, so there's your modified cross frame. And there's your modified trucks. And you just put them back together. I got to shave on that one a little more. This wasn't quite ready. We just beat it into submission. It'll go. There we are. Oh, look at that, like it was made for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys. Hopefully you can see it. I may have to stand up so you can see it. All right. So you see here, see the difference from the top of the frame rail to the cross beam?
Oh, yeah.
There's our modified one. See how nice and pretty that is? Now here's our stock one. And see the difference? Well, my big head went in the way. There you go. We dropped it a lot. And that will make that Aristo car set like it should. So, because of these,
I think the camera froze up.
Yeah.
Didn't really.
Yeah, we're stuck looking close up of the truck at the second.
The camera is still frozen for some reason.
Here we go. Come on.
You're good on your actual camera. I can see you, Shawn, but the close up one for the phone seems to be stuck for some reason.
Well, what we can do.
I mean, it's not a bad close up. It's like in focus and sharp.
Well, at least it's working. At least it's taking good. It's taking good steel shots there. You know.
If it doesn't unfreeze, you might just have to drop it out of the
Dang old interwebs. Yeah.
I mean, at least your ISP resolved your outage earlier, at least. So, I mean, we got that going for us.
We got what now?
I said at least your ISP resolved their outage earlier, so we have that going for us.
We do have that going for us. All right. Well, let's see what I can make the old phone do here. Let me set this truck down, and I'm gonna stand up. Look. Now, see on my end, the camera's working fine. Because I'm actually looking at it, and
let me drop it out of
Yeah.
slow here and see what happens.
Okay.
All right.
There you
Dad's
go.
not picking his nose, so that's good.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't.
There's that rating you were warned about.
The one time I did that, I dropped it back, and Dakman was about kicked back, ready to fall asleep, and he jumped out of his chair. All right, let's see if we can pop that back up there. We'll try and catch Dakman off guard
All right.
a little bit later.
Hi. Look at that. The old 5-finger crane is in the frame and it works.
You know, I never took you as a hand model, but I think you could pull it off, Shawn.
Yeah. Yeah. Just look at those. Yeah, there's your strike, Shawn. All right, so now we put it all back together. And the cool thing about it is the USA frames are drilled all the way through. So when you go to put it back together, it goes back together. I think I'm froze again on the phone.
He is.
Ain't that something?
Pop back out, Andrew.
Yeah.
Huh.
It seems to like it when I'm little. Maybe.
Well, it seems like it's stuck there again.
It's circling.
Aha.
The circle of death. Circle of death.
You know, circle of death. We're circling the old drain.
Somebody.
Well, while we're waiting on the overhead to do the thing, I'm just going to go ahead and finish putting this truck together. It's just 2 screws.
Somebody.
Nothing really spectacular to see. Unless you've never seen somebody put a screw in a piece of plastic before, then that might be the greatest thing ever. Like, look at this guy.
Anybody that hasn't seen a
He
screw,
knows how to put a screw in. Okay.
We'll detail that.
Right? It's like, look, there's the truck. She is assembled. There you go. Look, that's even better. We'll just do it that way. But anyway,
I'm watching it to see if it comes back up, but it's still dark.
okay. So there's your modified lowered truck. And there is and I'm gonna break out some tools here because, reasons.
Those reasons always getting in the way.
There is the lowered truck. See, old school. Because, reasons. We are right at an 1/8 of an inch lower over stock.
You're now the second person I know that owns one of those rulers.
I have 2 of them.
The guy I know has like 5 of them. I'm not sure why.
They're good rulers.
This is true.
They last forever. But anyway, so there is our new modified lowered truck. I'm going to go ahead and put that. See, this is why you don't have magnetic trays, because that way you get to hunt for the screws. So I'm going to go ahead and put this truck back onto the car. And because I don't want to bore you guys by doing the other one, I'll go ahead and show you the other trick. And it actually involves an Aristo truck.
So you're not a one-trick pony, is what you're saying.
I'm a no trick anything.
So what do you
And
think?
you want the screw to be just tight enough that you get a little bit of drag on the truck. Because who likes a cattywampus truck? Right, Ken?
That's right.
No cattywampus trucks?
Nope.
Have you lowered any of your stuff like this, Ken, or no?
Do what now?
Have you lowered any of your stuff using this method that Shawn's using?
No, but that's why it's great to have these guest people on here so we can learn how to do different things.
Well, thank you. I hope to share the knowledge.
That's
been
what
doing stuff.
that's keep this hobby alive is by everybody doing just that.
Yeah, we do a little sharing, a little this, a little that, a little bit of laughter.
That's right.
You know, we just
No.
have a good time.
No blood because we don't want Dakman getting an R rating.
Well, we don't want Dak to pass out. You know, we don't want Dak to lose his dinner. You know, I would just grab a paper towel and a piece of electrical tape and keep going.
You sound like a coworker. I
Like,
used to
I'm
have
okay.
years ago. He asked me if he
It's like,
probably
I'm
needed.
fine.
Yes, we needed to have stickers, and I said probably, and he just took black electrical tape and wrapped up his entire forearm. Okay. That's one way to do
All right, so what I'm going to do is Andrew, can you access photos if I send it to you right away? Is there any way you could throw one up if I send you one?
I have. Are they any of the photos you already sent me, or is this something new?
If I take one right now.
Yeah, I can do that. We have the technology.
So if I grab the old overhead up here and, you know, take a picture of the pitch of this car, you can see the difference in the lowering. Yes?
Yeah.
Huh.
And
The
actually,
camera
it just popped back up. I see that. Let's see
it
if
says
it's
hi.
let's see if it's going to
Working again.
cooperate.
Look at me.
We'll see
All
if
right.
it cooperates with us.
Yep. There it is.
Oh,
So I know you can't see overhead the amount of difference. However, hang on. Let it catch up. Come on, Spanky. Nope.
I'd
I
play
monkeyed with it. It said no.
I don't want Dak to get copyright strike.
There it is.
There we go.
So you can see the pitch.
You can't see that.
See how much height you have here?
Yeah, it looks like the right side's jacked up there, doesn't it?
Yes. And that's the side that has the unmodified truck.
Wow, that does make quite a difference. A world of difference, actually.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of difference. Like I said, it's right at 1/8 of an inch. You know, hang on, we're gonna break out Woody here. All right, so on the unmodified side, top of the body is right at 6 inches. We come over here. I mean, you really can't see it, but it's like right at 5 3/4.
Wow.
So you drop it 1/4 of an inch by doing that mod. Which doesn't sound like much on paper. Let me move the old slicer dicer. But you can see it. It's a difference.
I'm assuming that greatly reduces the amount of shim you need to body mount couplers, too.
Yes. KD 906s on everything. Every piece of rolling stock gets 906s. Because I like the slack action and I like the fact that, you know, it's correct. Well, correct enough.
Shawn, do you do these for people that don't have the time to do it themselves?
Well, maybe. Let me spin around here.
Oh my goodness!
It really is like
And-
staying at a workshop.
Oh my.
Right? I mean, yeah. This is all stuff that's in progress.
Oh my gosh!
Well, you asked.
Well, I was going to send you some of mine, but I think you got enough to handle there for a while.
Yeah, there's enough to. Yeah, there's a few. All right. Ta-da. How's that? And I should have showed you this while I had the camera down, but it's dead on the money on the height gauge.
Perfect.
Now the other side, on the other hand, is about half a knuckle. So I'll finish that car later. The next trick is we're going to take a stock Aristo truck and lower it.
Okay. Now you have me intrigued. How are we going to do that?
Well, you need some of those, the kadee 841 coupler shims.
Okay.
And you get the 1/16 ones out. Let me find one. There we are. Let me go ahead and pull the truck. And everything gets metal wheels because, reasons.
Those reasons. I know Jens Bang is in the chat. He knows all about them reasons. Don't you, Jens?
Poor Jens. Jens doesn't get enough love. All right. So
That's
the first thing
layout.
we're going to do, take your cutters, because this is going to get kadied because,
Reasons?
Yup. So you take these old dudes off right here, right there. Bicycle. Don't need them. All right, and then you take your file because, we have a nice little sharp edge here, and we need to put a pivot on this. So we'll take and file this down to an angle so that it'll clear the end screw on the kadee. And also this little nipple right here, this little nub,
Yes.
gets cut off and thrown away.
I think the only reason that was on there was to help limit the motion of the truck from tipping, if I'm correct, right? Because that's what the tang on the truck actually would ride against.
No, it does not ride on that tang. Originally, from what I understood, this was meant to be a stop for kadee 789s and 907s. So the non 830 and 906 couplers. So in order to do 830s and 906s, bicycle. So you file this down, and this is just this is an ease of operation mod. But you file it at an angle, and you round off the sharp edges. And when you put the kadee on, that screw will actually coast along this edge. Okay. Now that part's done, now comes the easy part. So you take your 841 shim, your 1/16 841 shim, and you measure it out, the width of your crossbeam, and you can do, if you're good, you can do 4 trucks out of 1 shim. So let me slide this back. Okay. So take this, our circles here. Get our width. The old slicer dice. You score it. And yes, I know you guys are going to be worried about Band-Aids and stuff here because, you know, I've got the blade a little close to the fingers, but it's okay. So you get that one. And then once you have this, cut it in half. Or score it and break it, whatever. And then you get your file. You file any little burrs off of there. Now what I do to finish these off is you get yourself some plastic weld and you put these in place. So you push down your springs, you take your shim, and you slide her in there. I usually try to bring the edge of the shim to the edge of the molded plastic to make it look like it's supposed to be there. And then you do the other side. And you might have to file on it a little bit to get it to go. Oh, there we go. There she is. Lowered.
Interesting.
And then you just glue that into place, and you still have some of your spring action in the truck. But I never figured out why Aristo put springs on their trucks, because really these cars aren't heavy enough to warrant having them springs. So
I agree.
little column A, little column B. But this will actually lower this car so that once you oh, and there's one other thing I do. This, because I like having drag on the trucks.
Did you say you like having drag on?
Take the file and what's that?
Did you say you like having drag on the trucks?
Yes.
Okay.
I like having just a little bit of side to side drag. So
So
I'll file this down just a little.
Heath is asking, did you figure out these modifications on your own, or were they passed down to you by another modeler?
These are passed down by another modeler. These are actually ideas from Ted Duscaris.
Okay.
And I just took them and modified them to my liking. Because Ted is a very thorough numbers man. He is very thorough. He has precise measurements down to the 100,000th of an inch. I eyeball it. If it looks right, it's right.
Yeah, Ted definitely puts the work in to make sure if you follow his instructions to the T, you should have no problems in the end. That's for sure.
Right.
I know he.
See, and just a little bit drag. And then this car now sets cattywampus.
I'll try and get a link here for. There's articles for Ted stuff on.
Greg Ellisman's site.
Yeah, let's see here.
I actually sent you a link to those.
Yes, you did. That's what I'm looking for.
So that we can give Ted his credit. But anyway, so this car on the lowered side now sits at 6 1/4 inches to the top of the body. On the unmodified side, we're sitting at 6 1/2. And then when you go to put the kadies on it, or if you use the, pull this down, let go of it. So if you use the notch on the kadee gauge, which this is the best tool you could have in your toolbox doing couplers. This notch, now, the kadee will now bolt flush to the bottom of the car without having to put a stack of shims underneath it to kick the coupler down to make it the right height. Now it'll just drop under.
Nice.
Wow.
So once you get rid of that nub on the car floor, you just put your 906 on it, drill your 2 holes, boom, done. So now we have 2 half-finished cars that I will finish, later, tonight, tomorrow. But they'll get finished, and they'll get kaded. The 2-bay hopper, this covered hopper, is going to get lettered as a Norfolk and Western cement car. So I get to do water decals.
Okay.
Which is something I've not done in 25 years. So, but anyway, so there's your lowering for the 2 cars, and then you still have enough of the kadee shim left that you can do the other half of this car and possibly another. You just glue those in place. And usually what happens is once the Aristo truck actually fails, I'll put USA trucks on the car.
What kind of glue are you using to glue those, just out of curiosity?
Plasti Weld.
Okay.
You get it at Hobby Lobby. It's like $7 for a 12-ounce bottle. It actually worked really good. I also use it to glue the end seals on these 2-bay hoppers because, these flex terribly. And I also do it on the Aristo 100-ton hoppers where those frame end seals also flex. So, and frickin' Frack here approved. Over here watching. Sitting on the deck. So, but yeah. So what else was we going to talk about this evening? So we've done 2 truck modifications. Oh, you want to talk about the gearboxes or you want to talk about the signals on the layout?
Let's go to the gearboxes.
All right, yeah.
The gearboxes, okay. We can do her. That is not a problem. So as time goes on, and now that Bachmann is bringing the Dash 9s back, that means there'll be a supply of parts, hopefully, for anything that has these gearboxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the gears. And I resin print these. You get the files for them on Thingiverse. There's a gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he actually took the time and did them and made the files free. So resin printed. Yeah, let me get them in the screen here. So there is the main gear. Right there. Main gear. And then the main worm gear. Complete with the old hex in the middle. Right. Yeah, if I can get the light on it. There she is, butter right there.
Now, did you have to do the design to make those, or were you able to find those already made up, Shawn?
I found the files.
Oh.
Now I do modify these a little bit because they're thick. They're very thick. So you have to scale them down just a hair to make them correct.
Okay.
But the base is there. The base is there to work off of. So here is half of a gearbox. Right there. Resin printed. Yours truly.
Nice.
Here is one that is assembled but with no bearings. It's just, here's just, rough draft. And here, you get the bearings. You get the bearings on Amazon. They are a direct match for the factory Aristo bearings. And once you do the thinning down, the gears and stuff actually fit right on there nicely. And also the axles are plastic, they're resin. For those of you guys that like to drag your power around in a boxcar behind you or inside your equipment, if you have a failure, you can use the plastic axles and throw your worn out metal ones away.
I was going to ask you, do you have any of the old axles or gears that you took out of any that are worn that you could show anyone by chance?
Possibly. Let me slide over here to the parts bin and see if I can grab one.
I always think that's something good to show people, because it gives you a lot of insight into why you should do some maintenance and make sure that the gears are lubed up and everything in them.
Right, I'm going to show you one of those too. Oh, let me just pull the drawer out because
there's a couple people asking where you found the files at.
Thingiverse.
Thingiverse?
Yep. And you actually have to hunt for them. I ended up actually doing a search for G-scale, aristocraft, and then it gives up a whole bunch of stuff.
Interesting.
And in that listing is the files for these gearboxes.
And somebody's asking, so these are direct replacement for Aristo that you made?
Yes.
Have you tested
They
them?
sure are.
Of how well they hold up, being as how they're all plastic resin?
Well, Steve Binko is going to be doing a stress test on
Oh, okay.
some. He's going to put some in a GP40, so we're going to see how they hold up.
Dunbar was asking, of course, who printed for you, and the answer would be Shawn printed them himself, and
Yes.
resin printed, so it wouldn't be filament, correct?
Yeah, those are resin printed, but I can print them in filament too. So I have both styles of 3D printer. I have the resin printer and I have a filament printer. And the filament printer I can do either ABS or PLA plastic. And the ABS will be right there with the strength of the factory Aristo ones, even though the Aristo ones are nylon and they're injected molded. Because that's how they do things. And I'm still looking for that gear because I thought I had some that were wrecked. Reasons. If you guys ever saw in here, and Jonathan will tell you, there's a lot of stuff in here. Oh, you know what? Andrew, I think I sent you some pictures of some worn out gears.
Okay. Let's see what I got here.
Because I think I seen it in the promo commercial. Oh, and there's Bimco right there.
I think I found the picture we're looking for.
He says he's going to have the GP40 done tomorrow. So
yeah, let me see if I can get this picture up here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how well they hold out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Steve comes up with. I
know it's no fun.
I'm hoping he rings them out.
Fair warning, we're going to drop out of full screen here in case anyone's picking their nose or Dakman's getting ready to take a nap.
Well, wakey, eggs and bakey.
All right, let's see here. Let's see if I can share this picture up here.
Because I thought I sent you one.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh yeah, look at that.
So,
Yeah,
zoom
there you
this
go.
up here.
There's one that slap wore out, including the axles. If you notice, those axles are grooved. They're not supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And the gear is supposed to look like the one in the top of the picture, not the bottom. The bottom one has been eroded away by the worm gear by the looks.
Yep. Yeah, that's what happens when you ring one off.
Yeah. That's what we have in the Aristo gearbox. You have what, 2 ball bearings that ride on the axle, and where those 2 grooves are at.
Yep. Yeah, that's actually the ball bearing for the
pickup.
Electrical pickup for track power. So you have the 2 ball bearings that set up on a spring that ride where those notches are, and then you have a metal cage that goes on the end caps over top of the bearings, and that's your electrical pickup. It's a good system. It works.
So,
but that locomotive right there probably had 1,000 hours on it, and it had never been serviced.
Wow.
Which brings us to our next thing. This is the best grease that you can put. You can put in the gearbox.
Up, Andrew, the comet is covering him. He's trying to show something.
Oh, sorry. Where'd the comet go?
There you go.
I don't know. Right there.
Here, we'll bring Shawn back up there. IBM.
Yes.
We're talking computer stuff.
Well, old mechanical machines. Yes, this is the best grease. And also, while we're here, let me show you the finished one. What I do to be able to service these in the future, and I do this to all of them. There is a small hole that I drill into one side of the housing. You pack her full of grease, and put a piece of electrical tape over the hole and put your cover back on the thing. You don't even have to take the whole truck out of the locomotive. You just got to pull the cover. Knock your holes in however many gearboxes you have. Grease it, use the electrical tape over it, put the cap back on it. The cap actually holds the electrical grease or the electrical tape over the end of the gearbox. And then every 100, 150 hours, pull the locomotive, put it in a cradle, pull the covers, put some grease in them, new piece of electrical tape, cover back, keep running.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Run her till the wheels come. Which, incidentally, I can print them too.
Very nice.
I don't know how good they'd hold up, but whatever, they work. Maybe. So we got that.
All right, so we
What
can talk
else?
about the signals. Everybody's wanting or asking about your signals, so we got to do that next.
Okay, so we'll do the signals. So it's dark outside.
We prepared for that, though.
I could take the phone out and go up to the layout, because the layout stays lit 24/7. So the buildings are all lit, all the signals are lit. But I had the forethought, with Andrew's guidance, to do a video. But if you watch, and Ken, you can go ahead and walk us through what these signals are.
Well, that's a stop. That'll stop right there.
Yeah.
So I was just going to stop there for a second. You were pointing between the tracks there, Shawn.
That's where the detector's at.
That's where your detector's at. Okay.
All right, here she goes. It's been long enough now.
Did you build these signals?
There she is. All right, Ken, go ahead.
Oh, approach. Got approach there. Approach signal, prepare to stop at the next signal.
Then highball.
Approach limited.
And inside now that is CB tower.
Yeah, let me
Right there.
grab the picture for that. I'll show them what's inside of there. Let's see here.
Well, I sure am glad to put a face with a layout, because now I know. I've been wondering whose layout that was. I've been watching.
Yeah, it's mine.
There we go. So,
Well, that's not CB tower. All right, so that right there is the control circuit for the signals. And those are ASRA Trax detectors. And I use telephone wire to power them and to power the signals.
Nice.
And that's the block detectors, the signal heads, and then a power loop to the next set of signals, to the next set of electrical.
What's the name of that circuit board
And
again?
everything on the layout is powered this way.
And what's the name of the circuit board again?
ASRA Trax.
Okay.
AZATRAX.
okay.
And there's two interlocking towers on the layout. One on the east side of the yard, one on the west side of the yard, and each one has one of those boards in it, and that controls a grouping of signals. So I'm waiting for Andrew to get up CB Tower so we can discuss why CB Tower is called CB Tower.
All right. You want me to put a different picture up, Shawn, or?
Yeah, didn't I send you a picture of the inside?
Other than
With
the one with the circuit board?
With CB's Tower's namesake in it?
Let's see here.
No?
Oh, yeah, you did. I have it right here. Let's see.
Joseph is asking, do you have any issue with sunlight, seeing as you are using IR LEDs pointing straight up?
No. No issues at all.
Is this the picture we're referring to, Shawn?
Yes. All right, so CB Tower has a name. And the reason for CB Tower, that's Creeper Bob. Because if you look at him real close, he's Creeper.
Kind of has those
that window watching.
Kind of has those eyes that follow you, you know.
Yeah, he makes you uneasy.
Did you build the signal, Shawn?
No, those are actually shallow signals.
Are they still in business?
No, they've not been in business for, I don't know, maybe a decade now, 5, 8, 9 years.
Oh, wow.
I've got a bunch out in the shop. I guess some of the best signals that came around were South Bend signals. And the man that did that, he retired from it. I was hoping somebody was going to buy those molds, keep those signals going, because they were actually really nice. I've got a ton of them on my layout.
And actually, that right there is a South Bend signal. That dual head target.
Oh, okay.
Searchlight. That is actually one of those.
So what are we looking at in this shot here, Shawn?
All right, so this is the approach out of the yard going out onto the main, going out onto the westbound main.
Okay.
So those targets right there, those actually control that switch there and the switch out on the main. And there's a set of tri-heads on down that also govern this particular set of tracks. So right now, this one is flashing red. Well, on the tri at the other end, it's flashing yellow. And then once that one goes green, that one goes green. So that's controlled. And then those are actually South Bend, complete with the little bell that rings ding, ding, ding.
And are those controlled using the same type of board as what we saw in the switch tower, or is that something different?
No, that is actually controlled in that junction box right there at the tracks.
Oh, okay.
But it is triggered by infrared detectors.
Let's see here. And I did have some other pictures.
So I use infrared outside.
I did have some close-up pictures you had sent me of some of the signals in that.
Yep. So there's your approach.
Now, I think, okay, here we go. This is actually the sensors, I think, here, right? Or your...
Yes. So those are the detectors for the signals. There's actually a separate set of detectors for the grade crossing.
So these are just IR sensors then?
That's it.
Wow. I figured you had like some fancy like electrical switch or something that compressed on the track.
No, I'm not that fancy. do like the big guys do have an insulated rail that, you know. I would have to run battery power if I was going to have where the axles was actually going to complete a circuit.
Yeah, I could understand that.
Because otherwise it'd be a dead.
So, how hard is
sparks
it to
flying?
How hard is it to set this all up, Shawn?
Initially,
Yeah.
it took about 2 weeks to wire it all in.
Okay.
And it's all telephone wire. It's all in black conduit. It's all zip tied in. As a matter of fact, if you look underneath that interlocking tower, you'll see the feed and supply line right there. Yep, in the black conduit. And then I just used the two conductor AST plugs. So everything can be unplugged and took out if necessary. So if I wanted to take that building and them signals out, all I got to do is unplug that right there.
Joseph was asking, what website did you get the control boards from?
AzraTracks.com.
Okay. And just, I would like to interrupt you guys just for a second. I've seen there was a couple comments. There was a couple of viewers interested in possibly large-scale consolidated live apparel. So if you guys are interested in something like that, me and Andrew have been talking about it. We haven't done anything with it yet. But if you are interested in that kind of apparel, like shirts and stuff like that, just put the ELSIE or LSC in the comments. And all right, so we'll move on to go ahead. Sorry about that. Can you get rid of this statement there so we can see him? This
yeah. Let me get rid of that. Hey, there he is.
Hey,
I'll make it better. I'll let him take my place. I'll hide down here at the bottom.
Oh, how sweet. All right, so there's the signals. Pretty straightforward.
I was gonna pop up a video.
I power the layout with one of those 12-volt DC outside light transformers.
So anybody listening, that would be a good business for somebody to get into, is making, because that's what we are really needing right now.
Yeah.
Now,
she smokes a little.
Is that the one you were talking about that had an MTH smoke unit in it, Shawn?
Yeah, everything gets converted to MTH smokers. I actually take the O scale MTH smokers, pull the Aristo smoker out, pull the guts out of the Aristo smoker, chuck it over the shoulder, notch out the Aristo body, to accommodate the MTH smoker, put it back together, and bolt it back into place using the Aristo housing. And it plugs right into the Aristo harnesses. And it'll smoke for days.
I wonder
Oh,
how
wow.
easy it would be to 3D print those signals to copy them. Since there's nobody making G scale signals right now, is there?
No.
The only thing I would
Z stuff
say
for trains makes stuff.
with 3D
Oh, they
printing
do?
those is it would have to be printed out of like ABS or something that would hold up outside, I would think.
Yeah, it would have to be something stout. I mean, all these are metal. Well, they're brass.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I have to ask you, as I'm looking at your layout here, Shawn, is that pressure treated wood or what did you use?
That's what I was wondering.
All right, so the upper deck is Trex lumber.
Oh.
The cross supports are pressure treated 4x4s, and then the legs are pressure treated 4x4s.
And with the
With
Trex,
the combination of the metal T-posts.
and with the Trex, do you find that it supports and it's held up against the sun and the heat and all that fun stuff?
The layout just turned 20 years old.
20, you said?
20, yes.
Wow.
Now, I do like this part of the video because we do get to see your signals actually functioning here as you clear through with the train.
Oh, there you go, Ken.
That's a clear. It's a go.
Uh-oh. Where's your and the train device at?
Well,
Yeah,
you know.
you need one of those, Shawn. You know, Ken will tell us you got to have that.
Got to have that. End of train.
I'm working on it. So the train just went through, and now the signals are responding.
That's nice.
I have to admit that adds a little bit of fun to it.
Yeah, because really nobody controls the signals. The signals control themselves. The signals are just there for aesthetics. And the two big signal bridges, they stay in a constant state of color.
The signal bridges don't change then?
That was an aristocrat.
The bridges, no.
Okay.
Yeah, those aristocrat signal bridges, I have the one side as approach, and then the flip side is proceed.
I have like 2 or 3 of those, and I keep wanting to have them rewired. I think they're the old incandescent ones that they sold.
A little highball action.
I think I know.
And you know, me and Jonathan, we was out in the cold, and we took the garden hose, and we took all the snow and ice off of the layout so that we could run his big boy and stuff when he come down to visit.
Are those solar panels on the side of the?
Yeah, those are my lights.
Oh, okay.
For
I was actually
nighttime.
more intrigued by the tender on your Pacific there, because that's not a stock Aristo tender from what I can tell. What do you got going on there?
No, that tender came from an ill-fated AccuCraft K4.
Oh, my condolences.
He said ill-fated.
Yeah, it was very ill-fated. So if there's any video that I sent you that shows the other loop, there's 2 stub tracks. And
you're making me feel
when the
sick
layout was
already.
set up in Cleveland, we weren't paying attention to where a switch was thrown, and she took a dive.
Ew.
Oh,
Onto a concrete pad.
That's the only thing that scares me about elevated G scale.
Well, the track is 100% level. I mean, there was great, effort in making sure it's flat.
Well, especially if you're going to run live stuff.
Now, if you notice in the back of that cab, you see the all-weather curtain?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hold on. I'm going to back that up a second there. Let's see. I know, just as it was going by, I noticed I was going to say, what am I looking at here? Let's see if I can pause it in the right spot. Right there. Yeah, what's that?
Yep, that is an all-weather curtain. The steam
Okay.
locomotives used to have them, and they were usually drawn up and tied up to either side of the cab. So in the wintertime, the crew doesn't freeze to death, even though they're sitting on top of a boiler and a big fire. Back of that cab being open, you're going to get cold. So those all-weather curtains, they would let them just drape down, and
So it wasn't like you were trying to hide electronics or something. It was just a detail piece you were adding in.
yep, that is a detail piece. And I hand sewn both of those curtains. There's actually 2 curtains there.
Wow.
And this has it, and both Malleys have them. Or one Malley has them. But yeah, those are the all-weather curtains.
And also, let's give a hand to a super great girlfriend that Mikey 45013 has, because it's her birthday and she's watching the show with him.
Well, that's awesome.
So happy birthday, Rachel.
Yes,
Thanks
happy
for
birthday.
Thanks for supporting our addiction or hobby. I mean,
All right, so this video here, if you let it play through, it'll probably go around the outer loop and return back,
okay.
and you'll see the stub tracks where the K4 went. But like I said, this was when it was in Cleveland. This is, yeah. So that track right there, when it got put up here, there's now a board across the end of the track and bumpers. It's not open-ended. And Andrew, I think I sent you a video of it running in Cleveland, and you'll notice that in the Cleveland video, them 2 tracks are open.
I was gonna pop that video up here when this one stopped, and you can tell us
the
a little
water
bit
towers
about
both
where it came
dispense
from.
water, of course, and then the coaling tower actually dispense coal because,
Reasons.
it's a detail. But the construction of it is Trex lumber.
Huh. There's an interesting one. You designed the bridge that Southern 8099 is installing?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Did you have a bridge that you built? And
Yeah, it was based on the bridge at Glen Lynn, the old Virginian trestle at Glen Lynn, which is 30 minutes from here.
Oh, okay.
It no longer exists. It got blown up
here's,
when they redid the highway. And
here's
the
Jonathan,
highway
the
took
fish
over.
guy's favorite scene.
Here.
That's cool.
Notice that salty commentary is not playing along with it.
I feel like this is one of those clown car tricks, or else it's a through engine shed.
It is. That motor barn is actually a combination of 4 of the 2-bay Pola engine houses. And on the Virginian, they called their diesel shops motor barns. So it's a motor barn.
All right, so I do have some video from this layout's original home. Let me mute that down there.
There she is.
So, who did this layout
There she is,
originally
Ken and
belong
Nancy.
to? Ken and Nancy.
Ken and Nancy Birkinshaw. I met Ken 20 plus years ago. We had our interest in the hobby. And when it come time to build his outside layout, he asked if I'd help him. Of course, now Ken was the age that I am now. and I was in my 20s. So we built the panels. The layout's actually modular. It's in 8-foot sections. So the original construction was at Ken and Nancy's house. It sat on 232 of the metal T-posts. I drove all of them. They were 6-foot T-posts. I drove them 3 feet into the ground. So the layout was 3 feet high all the way around, which is about waist height, which is good for running live stream and doing, the pictures and videos like this. When Ken passed away a few years ago, Nancy, of course, pretty much said, you built it, you helped build it. It's as much yours as it was Ken's. And then she passed away almost a year to the day that Ken passed. So the family then said, hey, come and get it. We're selling the house and the property. We don't want to see the work get destroyed. So me and some friends and the wife, we went up, took the old girl down, brought her home. Then I refurbished her a little bit, had to redesign her a little bit to make her fit in the backyard here. And hopefully she'll last another 20 years.
Yeah, I think there was a trip around the layout here in the video, I think, after this. It's definitely definitely a different environment than where you have it now. I would, if I would have seen this video off by itself and then seen your layout, I wouldn't have thought that they were one and the same.
Well, the modular design made it possible to rearrange it so that it would actually work here.
Very nice.
And I actually reused every component of it when I put it up here. It's just that it's not in the same places. This is the original runaround video.
Okay. I see some Aristo road railers.
Yeah, so this is it in its original configuration. And it actually went around the property line at Ken and Nancy's. So it actually hugged their fence.
Joseph was asking, do you, and I'm not sure if it's spelled right or what he's trying to say, but do you conformal coat the circuit boards to prevent water damage?
No, because the buildings are watertight.
Okay.
And in the other interlocking tower, the control board is actually bolted to the ceiling. So that section that the train just did a loop on, that's the yard section. And there's our stub in where the K4 went. Evil Knievel.
Ah.
So this straight stretch does not exist here. It's actually moved. That straight stretch actually starts right there. And here, the yard and stuff is on the tree side of the layout. So that section that was in the first part of the video is now where these trees are here. The layout is pretty much 90% of its original configuration. So where that pine tree is, that's where Creeper Bob Tower is at here. And it's 16-foot diameter curves, except for 11.5 on the short end. And then she comes back around, and then you'll see it cut back. So right about here, this is where CB Tower is setting right now, is right here.
Oh, okay.
And these 3 tracks are the exact same here. It's just that the yard is on the other side of them.
What diameter curves are on this?
16 and 11 and a half.
Oh, wow.
Because reasons.
So I can run just about anything I want, except for the USA Big Boy. And that thing requires mile wide curves. So
Very nice.
So this actually.
So right here.
This ran into his garage, or?
Yep, he actually had track inside his building, so he would pull all the trains in, and he had 3 loops inside the garage, and that's where we would store trains that we were running. So this section here is now over on the other side here. Because if I was to put the yard back in its original position, it would be 20 feet in the air.
Mark Golds is asking if you're running track power. He just jumped into our stream.
Yes, Mark, I'm running track. So
Very nice.
That's the old girl, the ELSIE, the elevated live steam and electric. Right here.
Oh, that's a nice sign. Did you make that yourself, or?
Well, the black part of it I had made. The housing is a 14-inch shallow dish pizza pan. And it is a piece of clear Lexan that I left the brown paper on the one side. And it is actually lit with LEDs that I can power with a 9-volt battery. And that is actually going to go outside eventually. I'm going to hang it off to the side of the building.
I kind of want some pizza now.
Right? Fat kid got to eat. You know. And then of course, you know, then there's the wall of stuff that Dak is just in love with because he sees all the blue boxes.
Frank was asking, I guess during your video, he must have seen you had an 8-axle depressed car. He was asking if it was an LGB.
Yes.
If so, how does it compare with the 129?
Well, it's LGB, so it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit wider, but it blends in fine.
Yeah, their scale's usually a little bit. Well, I think a lot of manufacturers' scales are a little bit loose, but LGB's is usually kind of floats around a little bit, I think.
Yeah, they fit in fine. I mean, these LGB 50-foot box cars, they work just fine with the 53-foot Evans cars. As a matter of fact, I put the Evans trucks on the LGB cars.
Very nice.
Because, you know, reasons. Oh! The infills on the aluminum passenger cars. That's the other thing we was going to talk about.
I was just sitting here thinking, what was there? There was something else we were going to talk about. That's right.
Yeah, we was going to talk about how I fix them.
Yeah. Did you have one you were going to show us, or how are we going to do it?
Yeah, I have one sitting.
All right.
I got one sitting right here.
We need to go to the other camera. Or are we going to?
No, I'm just going to grab it, and it's sitting right here.
Okay. I'll bring you up so people can see. Let's see here.
Now, Ken, anytime you want to jump in, you can.
Oh.
But anyway,
I can give you a couple minute break there.
all right. Well, you know, just if there's something you want to, you know, discuss. So here is, it's a 3/4 wide, 1/2 inch deep, aluminum C-channel. Of course, we got our 906s on it. You cut the C-channel to fit across the skirts of the car. Oh, cumbersome. And, you know, it's shiny, so. And then you I got a bolt screw there, screw there. Then, of course, you got screws in the knuckle in the draft box. And no, I don't lower them because, this takes care of this problem. Why cut up a bunch of plastic when I can just do this? And it may sit a little bit taller than the F3s. Honestly, it's not enough that I'm worried about it. It's not like these 2-bay hoppers that sit a mile up in the air. Those make my brain itch. This is you can go get a 6-foot piece of this aluminum C-channel at Lowe's. It's like $10, and then you just cut it to fit in. And I've got 6 of these cars, and I've did all 6 of them, and no problems.
That seems like a pretty rock solid way to do it there.
Well, yeah, you're bolting metal to metal. I mean, it's, there's no coupler deflection because it's metal. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's an easy conversion, and both ends. And there is a method where you can take the floor and drop it and put it on above the C channel that's inside the body, and that lowers the body down over the mounts. I just do this. This was easier.
No,
C channel.
I mean, it's effective. Seems fairly cheap to do, and why not?
Have you tried to do the USA streamlined passenger cars?
What was that, Ken?
Have you tried to do that to the USA streamlined passenger cars?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I imagine it would probably work the same, and it should work on the Aristo heavyweight.
Yeah, I'd like to convert mine to kadee since Charles Rowe, they never did make anything to take their coupler off to be able to put a kadee coupler on.
Yeah, everything is kadee here. Everything is standard kadee. 906. So there's 2 couplers, 906s because bang bang, and 907s on all the locomotives, except for steam locomotives. The steam locomotive tenders get 906s, and of course, back in the day, that 906 would have been an 830, and then the 907 is the same thing as a 789. It's just not the new style Type E coupler. I don't even think you can find 830s anymore. And here's a plug for Robbie. I get all my couplers and stuff from Robbie at RLD.
Yeah, same here.
There you go.
Robbie's a good guy. Shameless plug for Robbie.
There's nothing shameless about a guy that helps everybody out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to think, Shawn. Was there anything else that we were gonna look at? I'm looking for my.
Well, we did the lowering of the cars, partial. We talked about the gearboxes and how to service them, or how I service them. It may my method may be wrong as the daylight at night, but it works for me. We did the end seals on the passenger cars. We talked about the ELSIE. We talked about the signals. We talked about Ken and Nancy because we need to talk about Ken and Nancy. What else you want?
There's lots of things I want, but I was actually kind of thinking that I could give Dakman something that he wanted, because I know he was excited about it before. I believe he'd probably like to ask Ken about being a engineer, if Ken still would like to talk about that.
Yeah. Sure.
So, anyway, we model trains, no matter what scale we're in, G, O, whatever, whoever's watching our viewers tonight. And our show is geared towards G scale, but we do get people who model in other gauges as well who like to watch our show. And, you know, it's kind of exciting to have a real live engineer for the first time on our show. And we often run our trains, model trains, but some of us like to run prototypical, whatever, and are curious how the real railroads work sometimes. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool to talk to a real live engineer and relate that to what you're trying to do on your model trains. Some people just want to put something on the track and run it, and that's fine. But then there are some people who want to run more like the real railroad does.
I'm
So
definitely more curious after seeing Shawn's signals on his layout. That kind of sparked my interest.
yeah. And you know, so there's you worked for CSX, that's correct, Ken?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. And did you have to learn the Conrail signals as well down where you're at?
No, didn't. Seaboard signals.
Okay. Yeah.
Which those are searchlights, right? Those are searchlight signals. Is that what the old Seaboard used was searchlights?
That's right. That's correct.
Okay.
You
Those are the same style signals that the Virginia use, which is what my signals are trying to based off of.
Right. You learn the signals for the territory which you work.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure how that worked, and that's why I like to ask questions, you know, like that. So, like the Penzi style signals, you guys wouldn't have anything like that down there then?
No, not down here in the Nashville area. I mean, there's plenty on CSX territory up north, but none down in my.
Okay. So, as an engineer, I mean, you run your trains like the real railroad, or you just, you know, I mean, it's sometimes it's hard to find somebody who has an interest in the job that they actually work in. Like for me, I work in trucking, but the last thing I want to do is come home and build a model truck. You know, I want to play with trains.
Well, I can honestly tell you, there's some days I come home from work and I don't want to look at these trains, and there's days I want to play with my model trains that I don't even want to go to work. So.
That's a conundrum.
Yeah, the days on the real railroad, and you just don't want to even come home.
Little column A, little column B.
That's right.
So, what is it that you incorporate? Do you incorporate anything from the real railroad into your model layout, or do you try to like separate that and get away from the real railroading when you?
So the one thing that I like in model railroading is signaling, and so before the tornado this last year, when my railroad is set up, it's all set up so you can run on signals. So which I use the south signals, and that's why I kind of made a comment about that. I hate when the gentleman that was doing that went out of business because I really like the way they work, and I do have a couple of ELSIE signals that I use as well. But yeah, you try to run. I try to run my trains like I do. We run the real railroad without a dispatcher and a control center. It's kind of hard to do. It's like everybody else's, is a little make believe, but I try to make it. I try to have it set up when I do shows so that you have to really run according to signal.
Okay. So you actually use signals on your railroad too, as well, to control the railroad traffic.
I do.
Oh, interesting.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
because a lot of G scale layouts I visit don't have signals, but you know, so it's always interesting to see. You know, like tonight, the Shawn Fields' layout with his signals on there, so it's kind of like cool and different to see.
Yeah, I was really interested in the circuit board that he talked about. Now I want to get that and try that. Your blinking searchlights are limited limited signal, which is not something that's done by South Bend or anybody else that I'm aware of. So I really like that. So
Okay.
And those Azra track decoders, you can actually, there's some jumpers on them, and you can jumper in and change some of the settings on it with jumpers so that you can make the signals react a different way. You can actually adjust the timing between intervals where they change and how long past the detector that they change. And you can also change some of the signaling aspects of it.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
I like that yellow flashing approach before it goes highball.
Yeah, I was very impressed with that myself. So if you want to see all my signals work, I guess you'll have to come to the convention this year in Nashville.
There you go.
Was that another good?
And Ken, on your layout, are you running CSX trains on your own layout?
I do. I wish that some manufacturers would have done just a little bit more than what was available, but you know, we all have what you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
So the company for which I work is well represented on my railroad. Well, we'll go back all from L&N all the way to CSX.
And how long have you worked for CSX?
I'm in my 21st year.
Wow. It's pretty nice. And do you now, as a locomotive engineer, are you like, you just hop on a train and take it to one place and deliver it and bring it back, or basically what do you do?
My run is from Nashville to Chattanooga. So how it kind of works is the railroad gives me a 2-hour call, and they'll tell me when they call me what job I'm going to take, so I'll know where to go on duty. I'll get on that train in the Nashville vicinity and take it to Chattanooga. So that's my only territory. Once I get to Chattanooga, I'll take rest there and catch a return train back home. Traffic's picked back up. It slowed down during the virus this past year, but in the most part, it's back to normal running again. And so most 12-hour days.
And as an engineer, you're only allowed to run in a territory that you've been approved for. Is that correct?
Correct. So I work. So I'm in the Tennessee Consolidated district, which is Chattanooga to Brewston, Tennessee. That's going toward Memphis, Tennessee, and that's all that I'm allowed to do. Well, I can work any of the industries in that trackage, but I'm strictly in the Tennessee Consolidated district.
And have you done any, like, let's say they don't have that run. Have you done any switching over your time period or your years of railroading?
Switching?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That's a conductor job. That's why I went to engineer. That's not as hard. The work's not as hard.
Oh, okay.
No,
And
engineer,
is
that a mandatory promotion, or?
I'm sorry.
When you said when you moved up to being an engineer, is that a mandatory promotion to engineer, or can you turn that down, or?
It used to be mandatory. I know that if you turn it down now, that you are pretty much terminated from the railroad.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because I thought I had heard that with NS before, that with them, that like after so much time you got promoted to engineer, you didn't have a choice.
Yeah, pretty much. The only way that you could, like, for instance, right now, if I were to be bumped back to conductor, it would only be because of layoffs, or it's not demotion. Once you're promoted, they don't want you to go back. So there was a lot of cutbacks this past year when the work slowed down again due to the coronavirus. So that's how it kind of goes. Once you go up, you don't get to go back. You can transfer to other departments like track, signaling, other things. As far as going back to being a conductor, you don't get that option.
Yeah.
And one last question for tonight before we say goodnight to everybody, because I know we're pushing 2 hours here. Are you paid hourly or by the mile? So Canadian Railroads was asking that, and that's a good question, I think.
You're technically paid by the mile.
So pretty much like in the trucking industry, you get paid by the mile. Okay,
Yeah, it kind of works. It kind of works the same way. So you get paid by the mile. You're restricted to 12 hours. You can stay on duty until you get to your off duty point. But as far as running like a truck driver, you can only run for 12 hours.
okay. Yeah, they cut us back to 11, but
Yeah, it used to be 16. When I heard back in 2000, it was, I believe, 14. And then the government insisted that it be back to 12.
oh, okay.
And trust me, 12 hours is enough.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
So
All
do
right.
they deadhead you back, or do they have a run for you when you get to your next place? So when you get to Chattanooga, do you deadhead back and wait for another return, or do you wait for something that's going back the other way?
Most time I have to wait for a return home. So I don't know about the other railroads, but CSX has tried to cut down on deadheading. It's a liability, when you put somebody in a vehicle, and so they've got to, especially like right now with the way the weather is. I'll go to Chattanooga and they'll just hold me there until they've got a train for me to go back on, unless you get into some other things where your time runs out and you've been on duty 7 consecutive days, and then they will deadhead you back home. But most times when I get down there, I'll sit there and wait for a train. If something happens, I'll just sit there and wait. So I've been in a hotel for 3 days before I got a train back home. So
Wow.
Wow.
but it's nice to lay in bed and pay for it.
All right, so we're at our 2 hour mark for the show, and I thank everybody for joining us for our live show. The next one's going to be on Andrew's Mr. Petovid's channel. Do we have any information on that, or we're going to release that later, Andrew?
Well, I can tell him our next guest is going to be Mark Oles. Exactly what we're going to talk about, I have some idea, but I don't want to mention something and then we don't cover that. I can say that we're going to talk about bridges for sure, that he's now making himself and selling. I believe he's working on a couple of 8-foot long bridges for G scale right now. And he'll go over that with us. But there were a couple other things that you and I, Dakman and I, have to have a meeting with Mark, like we did with Shawn and Ken, to discuss what we're going to be doing for the next show. So since we haven't had that yet, I don't have that nailed down yet. So I don't want to say, hey, we're going to talk about this, and then we don't.
Yeah, that's fine. So
Hey, can I get one more little plug in on my behalf here real quick?
Sure, go
Absolutely.
ahead.
So there was a couple notes that was made while I was talking at the beginning of your show, and I got an email to mention a couple things. First thing is that we want to let everybody know that where the hotel is located here in Nashville, that there is the Opry Mills. So a lot of women like to come with their husbands to these train shows and like to be able to go shopping. So we have there's a mall, there's restaurants all within walking distance of the hotel. The General Jackson is on the same property. Also, we have the General Jackson Showboat ride that's offered several times during the convention. And let's see, there was one more thing. Well, I can't remember what the other thing was right now. Anyway, just want to get that plug in. Remind everybody to be sure and rebook your rooms at the hotel, and also get your orders in for the convention cars before it's over. Thank you very much. I see that there on there at the bottom.
Okay. And hope everybody has a good night. Thank you for joining our large scale consolidated live show. The next one's going to be on Mr. Pictovich's channel. Also, make sure you check out the all new large scale consolidated live Facebook group that Andrew's been nice enough to set up for everybody. And we also have a website. All those links are in the description. Check all that stuff out. And we'll see you guys in a couple more weeks on the next show. Have a good night and stay safe, everybody.
Somebody already put it up there.
Oh,
What we got?
He's telling everybody it's my birthday tomorrow.
Okay. All right. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.